Hey, soccer fans and SO peeps, as well as everyone out there who's looking to get a little bit of an edge on the betting competition this weekend. Welcome to Sons of a Pitch Soccer Central. I am your host, Nick, and tonight we are doing our betting picks and predictions for the MLS weekend of August 26th through the 28th. It's Wednesday night, the 24th, as we record this. So we're going to look ahead to this weekend. Now, the teams are getting a little bit of a break from their weekend. Let me set the stage a little bit before we get right into our picks and predictions. We're in the final quarter of the season, and outside the top 3 or 4 of each conference, there's not a lot of separation, and there's a lot of desperation from a few teams, which could throw off some of the picks and predictions and odds, and maybe even some of the goal totals. So keep in mind this week where these teams are in the table and how desperate they are to get a few points to try and get above the playoff line. Also, if you're not confident then in a lot of the picks, look to play the over. We've seen a lot of goals being scored lately. LAFC, Austin, they're always good for 2 or 3 at least. Minnesota has even picked up their goal scoring a little bit. And Philadelphia has been dropping touchdowns over the last couple of weeks or so. So keep in mind the over, keep in mind the rivalry games that we're going to see as well, and keep in mind those teams making a big push for the playoffs. As always, check injury reports and starting lineups. If you're going to make an early bet on Wednesday or Thursday because you love the odds, make sure you check the lineups Friday, Saturday, morning of the game time, so that way you can hedge your bets a little bit if you see something you don't like, or like for an LAFC team, again, if they're resting stars Bale and Chiellini, or other teams might be resting and rotating as they get ready for a big playoff push. And on a personal note, don't bet with your heart and set your limits. So always take my Chicago picks with a grain of salt, because that's who I would love to see win, and that may affect some of my better judgment. And as we do every week, remember, here's a quote, anonymous from the internet. Gambling addiction may be a disease, but it's the only disease where you can make lots of money. And there you have it. With that, let's get into the odds. The odds we're looking at this week are coming right off of the MLS's website. They have odds brought to them by BetMGM. So we're going to be able to run down it here and take a look at everything. They even provide the goals and the over and under on the goal lines as well. So the first matchup of the weekend, top 2 teams in the Western Conference, Austin FC hosting LAFC. And this one is a tough pick because you have such high-powered offenses. You've seen Austin kind of fall a little bit, drop a couple points lately, as well as LAFC just losing a stinker to San Jose. Maybe a bit of a trap game. Maybe they were looking forward to this one in Austin. The odds are on LAFC at plus 130. I am going to go with them despite being the road team here. I think they still are the better team overall, but there could be some good play on the over here at 3.5 goals. The second and final matchup of Friday night, a great one. Cascadia Cup rivalry, Portland hosting Seattle Sounders. 2 teams who are really in need of points. I think for this game, though, it's going to be more about the rivalry than it is about the table standings, though that would be nice. I am going to actually pick the road team on this one and take Seattle at plus 160. Seattle has had a great game against LA Galaxy last week, and due to a late penalty kick, they end up with a draw. Portland gets stomped on by Sporting Kansas City 4-1, and I think that might be the straw that broke the camel's back for Portland. I think Seattle gets the job done on this one. They're at plus 160. Saturday's games, August 27th. The first one is the Minnesota Loons hosting Houston Dynamo. And for this one, I am taking Minnesota. Houston is just not a good team. Even on their best nights, they're only drawing other Western Conference teams. So I'm taking Minnesota, who I think has won 7 of their last 10 or something like that. Minnesota's on a tear. Charlotte hosts Toronto in the next game. And this one was tough for me to pick because as good as TFC has been on the offensive side of the ball, they have a lot of goalkeeping and defensive issues. Charlotte, on the other hand, has been excellent at home. and they can score goals. So I'm actually going to pick a draw on this one because I see Toronto's offense matching Charlotte's offense in this game, despite it being a home game for Charlotte. I'm going to take the draw at plus 240. I think there's a lot of value in this one here. Next game up, New York Red Bull hosting Inter Miami. This is my upset pick. Miami has been playing so well. Red Bull has been playing poorly, not getting the results they need. They have been tired this summer. Aaron Long even came out and said that in an interview not too long ago. So even though Red Bulls are the heavy favorite at minus 165, this is my upset pick of the week. Throw $5 down on Miami at plus 400. That could be a huge win for people. Miami is playing motivated. Next matchup, FC Cincinnati hosting the Columbus Crew. Another rivalry game. The hell is real rivalry. Cincinnati fighting to maintain a playoff spot, same as Columbus here. But Columbus has one thing that Cincinnati doesn't, and that's Cucho Hernandez. I am counting on him to score, but because Cincinnati is at home, we've got Brandon Vasquez, who just got signed to an extension. I think this game ends up in a draw. I'm going to take the tie at plus 250. So I'm going against the odds on some of these draws, but that's because in these rivalry games, it's hard to really be confident, right? And form can change so quickly in the MLS. Next matchup, Philadelphia Union hosting Colorado. Now this one I have a lot more confidence in. Colorado can surprise you, but Philadelphia is the best team in the Eastern Conference, arguably the best team in the league right now. They've been beaten up on inferior opponents lately. I'm picking Philadelphia, even though it's minus 145. I can't pick against Philly right now. The next matchup, Chicago Fire hosting Montreal. CF Montreal, almost called them the Impact again. And I think they are going to have an impact against Chicago. Even though they're the road team, I'm taking them at plus 195 in this one. Chicago is coming off of a very, very tough game against New York City where they just look like they gave up. They have tons of struggles on defense, many injuries to deal with. They even changed their formation up to a 3-5-2 at the end of last week's game. They're playing desperate soccer right now. Maybe that works in their favor, but I don't think it does because they just don't have the roster to pull it off. Picking Montreal to beat the Fire, even though they're the road team. Next matchup, the battle of the bad, the two bottom teams in the Western Conference. Kansas City is hosting San Jose. On this one, I'm actually going to go with Sporting Kansas City. Coming off a big 4-1 victory over Portland last week, I think San Jose is just happy that they scored 2 goals. Not to mention the fact that they beat LAFC last game, but I don't see them sustaining it and taking it on the road into Kansas City. I'm picking Kansas City at home, even though they're minus 115. I think they're the favorites for a good reason. Next matchup, FC Dallas hosting Real Salt Lake. This one, I'm taking Dallas. They're at plus 100. They're the favorite. They're towards the top of the table, and RSL has not been playing consistently lately. I'm going to give the nod to Dallas. I think Ferreira and that offense gets a couple of goals in this game as well. That 2.5 goal line in this one it's tempting to bet the over, but I wouldn't feel confident doing that one. Definitely confident in picking Dallas to win. Next matchup, Vancouver Whitecaps hosting Nashville. This one is tough because you look at the odds. Nashville's at plus 160 as the road team, and Vancouver is at plus 155 as the home team. So about even. Who knows which way it could go, but I think I am going to put money on Nashville in this game. They have come off an excellent victory last week, scoring 4 goals. I think they have finally regained their form and got a little confidence, especially with Schaffelberg and Shaq Moore being inserted into the lineup, recent signings from them. I'm going to pick Nashville to do it. I can't trust Vancouver. They've been up and down lately. Getting into our last 3 matches, the Sunday games, August 28th, Atlanta is hosting DC United, a battle of the Uniteds, but Atlanta is at home and DC is terrible. I am picking Atlanta, even though they are minus 175. I'm picking Atlanta in this one. It might not be a huge value play, but there's a reason they're such heavy favorites. Might even want to play the over on this one. If the line's at 2.5, The over is at minus 175. So no value in this matchup, but it should be a pretty solid pick 'em. Next game, Orlando City is hosting New York City. This is a tough one because we saw New York City get the 2-0 win at Chicago this past weekend, but they didn't look like they were a convincing team. Meanwhile, you have Orlando, who's coming off a 2-1 victory themselves, who maybe are starting to find a little bit of their offense. This one is tough, but I am going to go with New York City. They're at plus 195, whereas Orlando is at plus 125. I'm going to take City. They got it done on the road. Orlando has not been consistent on offense, and I think City's possession is going to dominate and control this game. The final matchup of this weekend, we have the New England Revolution hosting the LA Galaxy, and I know the money is on New England. They have not looked like a playoff team, and the Galaxy, I think, are getting better. They're going to come off that last-minute draw against Seattle. They're coming off a win before that. They're having a decent run of form. I'm going to pick LA at plus 230 on this one. There's value in road teams in MLS, that's for sure. Plus, they have new star signing, Ricky Puig, coming in, and his talent is really, really good. I think he can actually help them out a lot, and I just don't trust New England. I don't trust them at all. So those are my picks. As a quick recap, running down the schedule, I have LAFC over Austin, Seattle over Portland, Minnesota over Houston, Toronto and Charlotte to draw, Miami over Red Bull, Columbus and Cincy to draw. They tend to do that in those rivalry games. Philly over Colorado. I've got Montreal over Chicago, Kansas City beating San Jose, Dallas to defeat Salt Lake, Nashville over Vancouver, and then on Sunday, Atlanta, New York City, and the LA Galaxy are my winners on Sunday. So with that, folks, I want to thank you all for tuning in to the Sons of the Pitch Soccer Central as we did our betting picks and predictions on this Wednesday night, as we do every week. I want to remind you to hit the like button, leave a comment, let us know who your value picks are, what's your strategy, what do you like to play, how do you like to play MLS? Do you think that the bookkeepers have caught up with soccer, let alone the MLS? Because there is a lot of value in some of these road teams. There is a lot of value on those goals over and unders. Just looking back, most of the goal lines are set, if not all of them. Every goal line this week is set at 2.5 with the exception of Austin and LAFC at 3.5. So there is a lot of value. Go check those numbers out. Go to the MLSsoccer.com website. Go to their schedule and then click on the odds filter and you look for this value here, right? If you think a team is going to score 3 goals, then man, play the over this week. This isn't it. I can't believe I actually saw that every game is set at 2.5 other than LAFC and Austin. A lot of value, a lot of good play on the over unders this week. But we got rivalries. We've got desperate playoff teams. Anyway, again, thank you for viewing, for listening. Like, subscribe, leave a comment. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know what you want to talk about. And don't forget to join us Monday nights on our live stream here on our YouTube channel where we recap the weekend of MLS. We profile teams and events. We did a U.S. Open Cup profile. Last week we did a San Jose Quakes profile. So if your team's coming up, be sure to tune in for that. Join us live, and we can even commiserate about some of our picks. We got a great community and chat going each and every week. If you want to follow us on social media, on Twitter, we are at SOP Soccer. And if you want to have a conversation with us, the DMs are open, or you can email us at sonsofapitchsoccer@gmail.com. If you want to support the channel, go to the About link or the link in the profile and join. Become a monthly subscriber here. All the money that we bring in goes right back into the show for software, hardware, website hosting, designing a new website that it has launched but is in beta, right? I think that's the right way to use it. And if you want to consider a sponsorship, please reach out to us via email, sonsofapitchsoccer@gmail.com, and we would be happy to work with you and incorporate your brand, your company, your logo into what we do here as we continue our mission of growing the conversation of soccer, growing the sport through the conversation, right? I'll leave you with my picks up on the screen. You can review those. Good luck, everyone, this week.